If you're thinking about moving into a 55 plus community, one of the biggest surprises for people is this: they don't all work the same way. This is video 3 in my 55 plus communities series. I'm Chris Rainwaters, your favorite real estate witch and a real life realtor here in Southern California. If you haven't seen the first 2 videos yet, where we talked about what these communities are designed to do and the trade-offs most people don't hear about up front, you'll want to start there. Those are linked below. But now we're going to talk about something that makes the biggest difference once you start touring neighborhoods, the different types of 55 plus communities you'll actually see, at least here in North County, San Diego. Because before we get into price, which we're going to do next, you need to know what kind of lifestyle and structure you're actually comparing. So once you understand the trade-offs, the next important piece is this: not all 55 plus communities function the same way. This is where I see a lot of confusion because people hear 55 plus and assume it's just one thing. In reality, there are several very different models, and which one works best depends on how you want to live, not just what fits on paper. I'm going to walk you through the most common types at a high level so you can start to recognize what actually feels aligned for you. Some 55 plus communities look and feel like regular neighborhoods. These are usually small, single-story homes, often around 1,000 square feet or a little more, sometimes with a garage, sometimes with a yard, sidewalks, and a very normal neighborhood feel. HOAs in these communities are often lower, and the lifestyle feels more independent. For example, the HOA in Peacock Hills is about $10 a month. These tend to work well for people who still want their own space, maybe a bit of outdoor area and fewer shared walls, but with age restrictions in place. They often feel like a gentle transition instead of a major lifestyle change. Then there are 55 plus condo or attached home communities. These usually come with more shared amenities, things like pools, clubhouses, planned activities, and less responsibility for exterior maintenance. That can be a huge relief for some people, especially if upkeep or repairs are becoming more effort than they're worth. The trade-off is shared walls, higher HOAs, and more rules, which some people really appreciate and others don't. This option tends to work well for people who like structure, predictability, and built-in community. Another common option is 55 plus manufactured or mobile home communities. These can be more affordable up front, which makes them appealing, especially for people looking to stretch their dollar or free up cash. But it's important to understand how they're set up. In some cases, you own the home, but lease the land underneath it. That means space rent, different financing rules, and different resale dynamics. These communities can be a great fit for the right person, but they require a little extra understanding on the front end so there are no surprises later. There's also a category I like to call the resort style or gated 55 plus communities. These are the ones people often picture first: golf courses, guarded gates, extensive amenities, and very active social calendars. Here in North County, a well-known example would be the Ocean Hills Country Club. These communities tend to offer things like golf, tennis, pickleball, fitness centers, pools, clubs, and organized events almost every day of the week. For some people, this is exactly what they're looking for: built on lifestyle, strong community, and a sense of structure and activity. The trade-offs are usually higher purchase prices, higher HOA dues, and more detailed rules, not just about the homes, but about how the community functions. These communities work best for people who actually want to use the amenities and participate in the lifestyle, because you're paying for it whether you use it or not. And some people thrive in this environment. Others tour once and immediately know it's not for them. Neither reaction is wrong. It just tells you something important about how you want your days to feel. So when people ask me if a 55 plus community is right for them, what they're really asking is which version of this lifestyle actually matches me. Notice which one felt easiest to picture yourself in as I described these. Did one feel lighter, simpler, maybe like something that would actually make day-to-day life easier and fit you? That reaction matters because the right structure supports your life instead of asking you to adjust yourself to it. Once you know which type of community fits you best, the numbers, locations, and specific neighborhoods start to make a lot more sense. And if you're here in North County, San Diego, these differences show up very clearly depending on where you look. So now that you've seen the different types of 55 plus communities, the next question most people want to ask is, okay, but what do these actually cost? We'll get there, but before you start comparing price ranges, there's one more step that makes everything clearer, because numbers only help if you know what you're optimizing for. So let's decision filter a little before we get to pricing. There are 3 things that you need to consider. What are you trying to reduce? So are you trying to reduce monthly expenses, reduce maintenance, reduce stress, reduce square footage? Different 55 plus options solve different problems, and the cheapest option isn't always the one that gives you the most relief. Some communities trade money for time. Some trade privacy for connection. Some trade flexibility for predictability. None of these are wrong, but it helps to be honest about which trade you're making. This is where age, rules, guests, inheritance, and resale really come into play. If you think there's a strong chance your living situation might need to change again, whether that be because of family, health, or financing, that matters more than today's sticker price. Once you can answer those 3 questions, the numbers stop being overwhelming because you're not looking at everything anymore. You're just looking at your lane. And that's when price ranges actually become useful and not stressful. Because a single family 55 plus neighborhood, a condo community, a manufactured home park, and a gated resort style community can all exist in the same county, but they solve very different problems. If you skip this step and go straight to numbers, it's easy to talk yourself into something that looks great on paper and feels so wrong 6 months later. This is how people end up saying things like, I don't know why this doesn't feel right. I wish I would have known this sooner, or I wish I would have thought about this. Most people try to decide before they're fully oriented. Orientation first, then information, then decision. If you want something you can actually reference instead of trying to remember all of this, again, I've put together a free guide that lays it out clearly. It breaks down the trade-offs, includes checklists for touring, questions to ask HOAs, and a worksheet to calculate real monthly costs. You'll find it linked below. So now that you've oriented yourself and you have a sense of which 55 plus community actually fits you, the next logical question is pricing. What do these different options actually cost? At least here in North County, San Diego. How do HOA fees, space rent, and maintenance factor in? And how do these choices compare to non-age restricted neighborhoods nearby? I break all of that down in the next video. You can click right here to watch that next. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this. There isn't a right 55 plus choice in the abstract. There's only the one that supports the way that you actually live. Once you understand that, the decision stops feeling emotional and it becomes practical. When people feel stuck here, it's usually not because they don't have options. It's because they're trying to decide before they're oriented. So if you need help looking at real neighborhoods, real rules, or real timing, that's literally the work I do. You can schedule a free consultation with me through the link in the description. And if you're still in the information gathering phase, that's great. I've put together several free guides to help you think through this process, including the 55 plus communities guide I mentioned earlier, and others for buying, selling, and planning next steps right here in Southern California. So whether you're downsizing, relocating, or just starting to explore what your options might look like, they're all linked below. This isn't something you should rush. It's something you want to line up correctly. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one, but hopefully sooner.